Hey guys, how are you? Type A here. So yesterday I posted a project I'm working. It's called Pattern Minds, and it's kind of like my take on mixing synthwave and chiptunes and electronic sound design, like inspiring synth and 80s stuff in a way. And yeah, some of the people like the sound design, and I would like to make a video about how I go creating my patches with the polygrid. And I'm not as advanced as other users. I'm kind of messing around with the more synthy aspect of the modules, like oscillators, filters, some of the modulation and envelopes, shit like that. Nothing too wild. And my focus when I'm creating this sound is in the tone and trying to tweak the parameters to produce nice results, and then maybe using external processing to make it stand out in a way. And this was the main base I used for that project. And let me play it to you so you can know how it sounds. Yeah, so the main thing with this sound is the low pass ladder filter, which at high resonance values it will create this self oscillating feel in the filter that produces these nice tones, especially in the mid range and high range of the spectrum. And I like to use this one a lot. And it sounds very like the modular shit. Really like it. So let me start with a new polygrid, and I'm going to create any generic synth sound that I will ever create using the polygrid. And for instance, I have this triangle. Let me turn that into a swarm oscillator. Let me extend the decay and give it a bit of release so I can have a tail. And let me make this at least 6 voices. Now I want to create a mixer, and so I can layer multiple oscillators, and maybe I want to add a sawtooth. Let me look for it here. Sawtooth. And when you mess around with the detuning here and you make it go both sides, it will make your signal stereo basically. Given all the stuff that they say that all the signals in the polygrid are stereo, you can basically detune the signal and make it go from both ways, and it will make your image wider. Now I want to low pass this so I have a more kind of like a more stable tone in the low end, for so to speak. So let me make this, for instance, G3. And do the same for the other one and make it like high pass in the other direction, G3 as well. So I have my two oscillators working in different ranges. And now let me bring in one of the filters. Like I've been using the Solin key filter a lot lately. I don't know. Let me bring an envelope. so this will basically create the main articulation in a way of the envelope. So it will be like a pad sound, something like that. And now I can mess around with modulators to make this more lived in a way. I can, for instance, bring the random modulator, make it go super slow with the modulation set to smooth here, free, and make it like super slow, like something like this. Now I can have this here. I can put it to be like this. Now let me bring delay as well. Delay 1. Let me mess around with this. Make it. Yeah, something like this is going to work. And then maybe do the same with the shape in the other oscillator. Make it here and make this one go in both directions, the modulation like 0.3. And I like to layer most times noise in the high end. So let me go something like this, bring the noise module and look for an ADSR to kind of like shape my noise, and bring a filter as well, the state variable filter in bandpass, set it to here. And now let me plug this into my mixer and make it quiet. What am I getting? Oh yeah, it's being high pass here. Okay, so I'm going to plug it directly into my outboard mixer here because it's not reaching enough high end after the silent keys to actually produce any sound. So here. And one thing that I've been seeing in polarities videos is the use of the all pass filter. And when you mess around with that type of module, even in noise signals, it creates real nice textures. So let me look for the all pass filter, put it here, making, for instance, like 7 milliseconds, and add another random modulator and mess around with the gain. Something like this. And maybe mess around as well with the modulation. Let me make another one of these. Yeah, it's something that you definitely need to tweak more. And maybe I want to add even more modulation to my filter so it's not as static as it is now. And maybe use one of the classic LFOs. And what I like about this LFO is that when you send into musical intervals, like for the movement here, basically you have like this setting of 16 bars and 32 bars. And when you're creating evolving sounds like this, you want to modulation to go slow, so it will evolve over time and basically work as a bed for other sounds like bass, more texturized shit like that. And for instance, we can do something like this and mess around with this. Let me spice up my texture here. Let me add a chorus here. Let me add random modulation to the dry wet and make it from a white sound to something more mono here. Let me bring the rotary device. Maybe I also want to mess around with how much of the envelope is affecting the filter in a random fashion way as well. So let me bring this one here and make it a tiny bit. Yeah, I'm liking the texture here. Let me maybe bring a compressor to kind of make the sound more, I don't know, like more thick in a way. Let me write something with it. Yeah, something like this. I think I'm missing a G note here. Now something that maybe it's not that obvious, but when you mess around with notches, that will create really nice textures in the sound. So let me bring an EQ. Not going straight forward to notch, but just making the here with the same bell form, making a notchy and mess around with this. Like this, something like that. And I want to mess around with random modulators here, both ways, make it a bit more faster, like maybe 40. Do it for this band as well. With a different seed. And let me bring black hole to glue my sounds with reverb. Maybe less watch out, something like this. Yeah, I like the way it sounds. It's kind of like this analog pad with a digital feel to it. There's definitely a lot more shit that I will do to this patch, but I don't want to mess with it. I like it as it is, and maybe what I can do is to layer it with a sound that has a different textural quality to it, and maybe write something different, and that will create the patch more intricate and interesting when you put it together with our stuff. Um, One example of this is that this type of pads works really nice with bass sounds that have this movement in the mid range, and like they're all really low with emphasis in the low frequencies, but this nice movement in the mid range, like Reese basses, but processed with different stuff, not your typical like like face beating type riff that people in drum and bass use. And I have a couple of patches like that made. I need to find them. I definitely making a lot of them with Europa, but yeah, the purpose of this video is to showcase a bit of the polygrid. And the other thing I will always do when I'm making sounds like this is to check the different ranges, because sometimes a sound doesn't work in a specific range you intended to, but when you picture up and down, it will create more sense. It will make more sense, and maybe also add a bit of pitch modulation, like some detuning. Let me go here to my oscillators, and I want to bring the pitch module here, and then when it becomes active, I can maybe look for this LFO, make it slower, and add a bit of modulation. Let me play it an octave lower. Yeah, this is one of the best cases that I can show you that how a sound works nice in different ranges of the keyboard. And in this case, it's more evident. And when we use the white noise, you can see this nice texture it produces in the high end. Let me play it again. Let me maybe crank a bit more the compressor. Yeah, this was super nice. And if I were to mix it with this bass I have over here, I will high pass a bit of the lows in this patch with to my ears has more mid-range qualities to it, and make it go with this bass. Yeah, something like that, something very synth wave. So hopefully this will be kind of helpful to you guys figuring how you can mess around with structures like this, which I think are very simple in compared to what other people are doing with the polygrid, making generative patches and messing around with a lot of the data modules and logic shit like that. And but yeah, my as you can see in this patch, we kept it very straightforward, pretty much subtractive synthesis at its purest form. Maybe enhanced it with the Bitwig's capabilities for modulation. But one next step will be to bring oscillators here and start messing with the phase modulation and create your own modulator here on this side, and maybe using this to modulate certain parameters. And the next step to that will be using the sampler oscillators and bringing wavetables into your sounds, and that will create even more variation. And I think if you are striving for originality with the polygrid, we'll start using more a combination of phase modulation and wavetable, uh, just because you can use pretty much anything as a wavetable, and that will break a bit of the thing that we did here with purely sawtooth and shit like that. And this will definitely be more interesting to listen to. But yeah, I've noticed that maybe using simple modules like this, but twisting the parameters in specific combinations, it will make for interesting sounds. And that's what I did with the project Pattern Minds. With I'm going to share hopefully today. I need to still go to over the different tracks and use better naming and make it more standardized so people can navigate through the project file better. It has quite some patches in it that I think you guys are going to like. So yeah, hope this is helpful. Leave a comments below. Hopefully, I will be doing more video about shit like that, which is what I really like, making sound design. So yeah, peace.